I need to be honest with you. Something is happening inside your grocery store right now, and the companies behind it are counting on you not to notice. A brand new study dropped just 3 weeks ago. Researchers tracked over a decade of grocery data and found that the average size of packaged food in America shrank by 14.6% between 2012 and 2019 alone. And experts say that trend either continued or accelerated during the pandemic and beyond. That is not inflation. That is not supply chain. That is a calculated strategy to quietly take food out of your hands without changing the number on the price tag. And in February 2026, it is worse than it has ever been. Today, I am breaking down 10 everyday grocery items that have silently shrunk, some by 30%, while charging you the same price or more. Stay until the end, because item 7 is one your family buys every single week, and I almost guarantee you have no idea what they did to it. Last week, I had coffee with a procurement specialist who has spent 18 years managing purchasing for regional grocery chains. I'm not going to use her name, but what she told me made me genuinely angry. She pulled out her phone and showed me internal SKU comparison reports, before and after packaging updates, item after item. Same brand, same shelf, same price, but the net weight quietly slashed. She said, "They do not change the price because that triggers comparison shopping. They change the weight because almost no one checks." She's been in the industry long enough to have watched this go from an emergency cost-cutting tactic to a permanent corporate strategy. And right now, with tariffs hitting food imports hard and farm labor down 155,000 workers since mid-2025, companies have more cover than ever to keep shrinking. Before we get into the list, let me tease 3 items that I think are going to shock you. Item 6. This is something 75% of American households buy every week. The shrink happened so quietly that even the shelf tag didn't update for months. Item 8. This one made my blood run cold. The package looks identical. The price went up slightly, but you're getting nearly a third less inside. Item 10. When I tell you about this one, I want you to go check your pantry right after this video. I promise you the bag in your cabinet right now is smaller than the one you bought 2 years ago. Okay, let's get into it. Item number 1. Ground coffee. Standard 1-pound coffee bags, the ones you've been buying for years, now commonly contain only 10 to 12 ounces while looking nearly identical on the shelf. Net weight is printed near the seal in tiny text most shoppers never read. Coffee is getting hammered from every direction right now. Brazil, which produces about 1/3 of the world's coffee, was hit with devastating frosts. Vietnam had severe drought. Colombia had labor strikes, and tariffs made it worse. The U.S. slapped a 50% tariff on Brazilian coffee imports, and Colombia, which supplies 20% of our market, faces a 10% duty. Coffee prices rose 21% in a single year, one of the largest single-year spikes ever recorded for this commodity. Rather than raise the sticker price and trigger comparison shopping, brands quietly reduced what's in the bag. Old price, old size. $8.99 for 16 ounces equals 56 cents per ounce. New price, new size, $10.99 for 11 ounces equals $1 per ounce. That is a 79% increase per ounce. And most people think they're just paying a couple bucks more for coffee. I built a 60 pounds coffee stockpile, whole beans and ground, regular and decaf. It cost me about $400. At the rate per ounce costs are climbing, that stockpile is already worth significantly more than what I paid for it. More importantly, my morning cup doesn't cost me $1 an ounce. For whole beans, airtight container, cool dark place, up to 3 months. For long term, vacuum seal or Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. Stored properly, coffee is shelf stable for 1 to 2 years without meaningful flavor loss. Item number 2. Boxed pasta. Popular pasta brands quietly reduced box weights by 25 to 30% while maintaining familiar box dimensions. The visual impression of value remains. The actual product inside does not. 3 problems converged at once. Durum wheat, the specific type used for quality pasta, had significant drought-related yield losses in North Dakota and Montana. Then the real gut punch. Starting January 2026, Italian pasta now faces a combined tariff of up to 107%, a base 15% EU tariff stacked with a 91.74% anti-dumping duty on 13 of Italy's largest exporters. For importers, the cost more than doubled overnight. For domestic brands, the competitive pressure to hold price points is enormous. The solution? Fewer ounces, same box. 18 months ago, name brand pasta ran about $1.29 for 16 ounces equals 8 cents per ounce. Today, $2.49 for 12 ounces equals 21 cents per ounce. That's a 163% increase per ounce. Recipes that used to use 1 box now need 2. Your grocery bill doubled without you changing what you cook. I keep 100 pounds of pasta in my pantry. Long shapes, short shapes, small shapes. I rotate through it constantly. Every shopping trip I add 10 boxes. It runs me about $25 a month, and I'm locking in today's prices. Original packaging works fine if you're rotating regularly. For long-term storage, transfer to airtight containers or food-grade buckets. Keep it dry. Pasta stored properly lasts 2 to 5 years. Item number 3. Bread loaves. Standard sandwich bread loaves have lost slices, or the slices themselves got thinner, while the bag size looks unchanged. You don't notice until the sandwiches run out 3 days earlier than usual. Wheat prices remain elevated from the Ukraine war supply disruption. Farm labor shortages, with the agricultural workforce down 155,000 workers between March and July 2025 due to immigration enforcement, have pushed production costs higher at every step. Bakeries face energy-intensive operations and rising labor costs. Slicing fewer pieces or cutting slice thickness is a nearly invisible cost offset. Standard loaf that was $2.29 for 20 slices equals 11 cents per slice. Now, $3.99 for 16 slices equals 25 cents per slice. You're paying 127% more per slice and running out of bread faster, which means buying more bread more often. I started baking a simple sandwich loaf myself. Takes 90 minutes, costs about 60 cents in ingredients at today's flour prices, and produces 18 thick slices. I also stock extra flour and yeast as pantry staples. Freeze bread immediately if you won't use it in 3 days. Most sandwich loaves freeze perfectly for up to 3 months. Toast straight from frozen. No quality loss. Item number 4. Canned bean. Canned bean sizes have quietly dropped. What was a standard 16-ounce can is increasingly a 13.5 ounce or a 14-ounce can. Same label design, same shelf position, sometimes even the same price. Tariffs on imported steel, which is used in manufacturing, raised packaging costs significantly. Procurement specialists in the grocery industry have reported fill rates on canned goods running at 70% of what's ordered. For every 10 cases a grocery chain orders, they're getting 7. The aluminum and steel can shortage forces manufacturers to either cut runs or cut fill weights. Black beans 2 years ago, 89 cents for 16 ounces equals $0.056 per ounce. Today, $1.69 for 13.5 ounces equals $0.125 per ounce. That's a 123% increase per ounce on a protein staple that millions of families depend on. I currently keep 200 cans of various beans, black beans, pinto, kidney, chickpeas, white beans. That's about $280 and roughly 200 protein-packed meals. I add 10 cans every shopping trip. Keep cans in a cool, dry place away from light. Canned beans last 3 to 5 years easily. Rotate stock using oldest first. Item number 5. Breakfast cereal. Family-sized cereal boxes have been among the most documented shrinkflation victims. Frosted Flakes, family size, dropped from 24 ounces to 21.7 ounces. Reese's Party-Size Miniatures fell from 40 ounces to 35.6 ounces. The box dimensions barely changed. Grain costs remain elevated due to ongoing climate-related yield disruptions. A Stanford study from 2025 found rising global temperatures have already reduced yields of major crops like corn and wheat by more than 15% in some regions. Cereal manufacturers are squeezed by grain costs, energy costs, and packaging costs all at once. Downsizing product weight is the least visible way to protect margins. Family Frosted Flakes dropped 2.3 ounces but kept the same price. That's a per-ounce price increase of 10.6% on top of existing price increases. Experts note that breakfast items broadly have seen per-ounce costs climb 40% in recent years. I shifted toward oats and bulk granola. More stable per-ounce costs, longer shelf life, and I control what goes in them. For cereals, I still buy. I exclusively compare unit prices, never sticker prices. Transfer open cereal to airtight containers. In a cool pantry, most cereals stay fresh 6 to 12 months. Buying larger formats when unit price is better is worthwhile. Just store properly. Item number 6. Toilet paper and paper products. Costco changed its paper towel rolls from 160 sheets to 140 sheets per roll, a 12.5% reduction. Toilet paper brands across the board have reduced sheet size, sheet count, and ply thickness. The roll looks the same. The cardboard tube got bigger. The usable paper got smaller. Wood pulp and fiber costs remain high. Energy-intensive paper production got more expensive. And this is a category where the Bureau of Labor Statistics has noted household paper products as among the most frequently shrinkflated categories in the entire grocery store. It's not supply chain pressure alone, it is corporate strategy. Consumers are less likely to comparison shop on tissue paper than on food. A 12-pack of double-roll toilet paper that was $9.99 with 200 sheets per roll might now be $11.49 with 165 sheets per roll. That's a 40% increase in per-sheet cost dressed up as a minor price bump. I started tracking the sheet count rather than the roll count. A 24-pack looks like a deal until you compare actual sheets. I also switched to a club store membership for the highest sheet count per dollar products. Paper products store indefinitely as long as they stay dry. A dedicated dry storage area, basement shelf closet, works perfectly. Buying ahead at today's sheet counts locks in value before the next reduction. Item number 7, yogurt cups. Single-serve yogurt cups have quietly dropped from 6 ounces to 5.3 ounces, or from 8 ounces to 5.3 ounces for some brands, in the last 2 years. The cup shape didn't change much, the fill level dropped. According to a report published just 2 weeks ago, yogurt is one of the top shrinkflation categories in 2026. The dairy supply is under pressure from multiple directions. Rising grain prices drive up feed costs for dairy cattle. Butter and cheese draw more cream away from yogurt production because they carry higher margins. Additionally, the USDA has warned that dairy supply, including milk and butter, may suffer further from rising grain prices in 2026. Farm labor shortages are hitting dairy operations especially hard. A 6-pack of 6-ounce yogurt cups for $4.99 equals 14 cents per ounce. Today, a 6-pack of 5.3-ounce cups for $5.49 equals 17 cents per ounce. That's a 21% per ounce cost increase, and the family goes through the supply faster, buying more often. I switched to buying large format plain yogurt and adding my own fruit and honey. A 32-ounce tub gives you the same total volume at a lower per ounce cost, with no packaging shrink risk. Greek yogurt opened lasts 1 to 2 weeks in the fridge. For stockpiling dairy protein, powdered milk is more practical. It lasts 2 to 10 years stored properly and is far less vulnerable to shrinkflation. Item number 8, peanut butter. Peanut butter jars have been subtly downsized. Gatorade, a companion to this strategy, dropped from 32 ounces to 28 ounces. In the peanut butter category, the classic 18-ounce jar has migrated towards 16.3 ounces in many major brands. Same jar, same label. A concave bottom pushed slightly higher into the jar. Peanuts face weather-related yield pressure. But more importantly, peanut butter is in an academic study published just this month by the International Journal of Industrial Organization. It's specifically cited as a category where product size decreases went largely undetected by consumers for years. Researchers found size reductions were more common in products less likely to be scrutinized, and peanut butter is exactly that. You buy it, you spread it, you don't measure it. Classic jar at $4.29 for 18 ounces equals $0.238 per ounce. New jar at $4.79 for 16.3 ounces equals $0.294 per ounce. That's a 23% per ounce cost increase, hidden inside a slightly heavier jar that feels the same in your hand. I switched to buying club store peanut butter in the 40 ounces or 64-ounce format, where the per ounce cost is lower and shrinkflation gains are harder to hide on a large container. I also added it to my rotation stockpile. Natural peanut butter lasts about 3 to 6 months at room temperature, up to a year refrigerated. Commercial peanut butter with stabilizers lasts 6 to 9 months, opened at room temp. Unopened jars, up to 2 years. Stock up and rotate. Item number 9, canned tuna and seafood. Standard canned tuna cans have shrunk from 6 ounces to 5 ounces in many brands, a 17% size reduction. Some varieties have dropped further. The can looks identical. The fill weight is printed in fine print on the bottom. This is one of the most tariff-exposed categories in your grocery store right now. The Center for American Progress reports that American consumers in January 2026 were paying 8% more for fish and seafood compared to pre-tariff trends, one of the steepest tariff-driven increases of any food category. On top of that, global fishing regulations have reduced catch limits, and fuel costs for fishing fleets have surged. Processors facing rising costs on every input, fish, cans, labor, fuel, quietly reduced fill weight before raising the sticker price. A 3-pack of 6-ounce tuna for $3.99 equals 22 cents per ounce. Today, the same 3-pack and 5 ounces cans runs $4.49 equals 30 cents per ounce. That's a 36% per ounce increase on a pantry protein staple. I keep a minimum of 60 cans of tuna and salmon in rotation. I check the net weight before I buy. If a brand is dropped to 5 ounces, I look for a competitor still at 6 ounces, or I buy the pouches which sometimes still offer better per ounce value. Canned seafood lasts 3 to 5 years in a cool, dry pantry. Rinse before eating to reduce sodium. Rotate stock oldest first. Item number 10. Cooking oils. The 48-ounce vegetable oil bottle, the one that looked like a value buy, has quietly migrated to 40 ounces or even 32 ounces at the same price point. Olive oil, which has been hit by both climate and tariffs, shows some of the most dramatic shrinkage in premium formats. The global cooking oil situation is still unresolved. Sunflower oil supply from Ukraine and Russia remains severely disrupted. Soybean oil demand is being pulled toward biodiesel production. Palm oil faces labor shortages in Indonesia and Malaysia. And now Italian olive oil faces a 15% base EU tariff, with further duties potentially coming. The USDA's food price outlook specifically flags fats and oils as one of the largest price increase categories entering 2026. Vegetable oil at $5.49 for 48 ounces equals $0.114 per ounce. Same shelf, same brand, current. $5.99 for 40 ounces equals $0.150 per ounce. A 32% per ounce cost increase. For a family cooking every day, that gap compounds over months. I keep a rotating stock of vegetable oil, olive oil, and coconut oil, each stored properly for different uses. I buy in the largest format available and compare ounce counts before purchasing. Keep oils in a dark, cool place. Heat and light accelerate rancidity. Vegetable and canola oil, 12 to 18 months unopened. Olive oil, 18 to 24 months. Store away from the stove. Buying large formats ahead of price increases is one of the highest ROI pantry moves you can make right now. Here's what you need to understand. Shrinkflation is not a temporary inconvenience. A study released in January 2026 found that package sizes declined an average of 14.6% over just 7 years, and experts are clear that sizes are not coming back. The industry has permanently adjusted to smaller quantities at higher per ounce costs. That is the new normal. Here is my challenge. Pick 3 items from this list, just 3. This week, when you go to the store, buy 2 extras of each one. That's it. That is the entire ask. Next week, add 2 more items to your rotation. Within a month, you will have started building real food security at today's prices. And here's the thing that makes this completely risk-free. Even if prices magically stabilize tomorrow, you have lost nothing. You are buying food you're going to eat anyway. You're just buying it at today's prices instead of tomorrow's higher per ounce costs. That is not stockpiling. That is smart financial planning. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I track shrinkflation and supply chain shifts weekly so you don't have to. Drop a comment below which item on this list surprised you the most. The coffee math? The pasta tariff situation? Let me know.